Hello everyone, and welcome to a game we said that we would cover after the previous one. I hope you enjoyed that game between Bratislav Rabar and Miguel Najdorf. Also, it's a game from the Interzonal tournament in Sweden, Gothenburg in 1955. It's a tournament, it's a 21-player round robin where nine of the most successful players will qualify for the 1956 Candidates tournament in Amsterdam. But as we already mentioned all of this, let's check out this game. Before we check it out, I do have a nice photo challenge. It's a photo challenge, but also kind of an introduction to this tournament. Here is a photo of all the players that played in this tournament, and it will be also a very nice challenge for you because it's not a very good photo. So I think you should be able to spot at least 10 players you can recognize, but you know, feel free to test your vast knowledge here. And you know, if anyone can call all 21 of them, then do share in the comments, of course, and do share how many of you did you recognize. And just for comparison, this is a photo from 1955. Here is a photo of Real Madrid team. It's a photo from 1957. Okay, there it's somewhat 2 years of a difference, but there you can see that, you know, even in those days they had nice cameras, only not for chess. So here we have this one again. Now let's go back to this one and the chess one again. So just wanted to put that out there, and we do have a nice photo of this game in particular. Here it is. Paul Keres on the left and Boris Spassky on the right. It's a photo from the previous video's photo challenge. A lot of you got it right, since yes, there is a writing with players' names on it. So yeah, and you've already seen the standings after the tournament, but we're gonna check it out once more after this game. So we have Paul Keres with the white pieces. He opens with d4. Knight to f6, c4, e6, knight to f3, and b6. Spassky goes for the Queen's Indian defense. These were the good old days before AlphaZero ruined the Queen's Indian defense for everyone. So, of course, Spassky goes for it. And we have e3. Keres plays the Spassky variation against the Queen's Indian, the Spassky system. Bishop to b7, we have bishop to d3 and bishop to e7 now. Both players castle, b3 now, preparing to fianchetto the dark square bishop. d5, bishop to b2, knight bd7, knight to c3, c5 now. All players simply developing pieces. Queen e2, connecting rooks, developing the queen. Now first d captures on c4, b captures, and queen to c7. Black also now connected rooks. Rook a to d1, we have rook a to d8, and now you could continue the game, simply bring the other rook to a useful square, but here Keres plays a better move, the immediate d5. Now the immediate d5, if you can grab more space, as a general principle, you should always do it, as capturing on d5 is not so simple. If Spassky decided to capture here, then after c captures on d5, knight captures, you get this bishop captures on h7 move. It's nothing all that too dangerous, but after king captures, knight captures on d5, bishop captures, rook captures, the material on the board is completely equal, but who would you rather play here, black or white? This bishop here is a complete monster. This rook can come to the attack via g5, h5. Knight is coming to the game. The queen can easily be shifted into the attack. So although the material is equal and the white is a bit better here, it would be very unpleasant to play this for black. So after d5, we have a6 by Spassky. D captures on e6 and f captures on e6. So without being able to actually capture on d5, now Keres created a nice isolated pawn on e6, and it will become a target via, for example, knight g5. So knight g5 immediately. We have queen to c6 now. The threat is, well, for now not possible because queen to g2 would be checkmate, so you do have to prevent this. We have f4. Now the queen from e2 is also guarding, protecting white from being checkmated. h6, kicking the knight back from such a nice square. Knight goes back to f3 and queen to c7 now. We have knight to h5, going for that very nice g6 square where, well, either you're just going to keep the knight there, but you can also destroy black's bishop pair. So bishop to d6, Spassky doesn't allow this. We have bishop back to b1, and now rook f to e8. Now knight g6 will be a nice square for the knight, but at least it will not come with tempo. Queen to f2, preparing to bring the queen over to g3 to help out with the attack against the black king, but also getting it out of e-file that the rook is controlling. Knight to f8 now, not allowing Keres to get his knight all the way to g6. We have queen to g3, knight to h5 now attacking the queen, queen to h3, and now knight back to f6. Saying, do you want to draw or do you want to keep playing this game? If Keres would repeat queen to g3, then probably Spassky would again repeat knight to h5, and we would have a draw by threefold repetition. But Keres is up for a fight, so knight to g6. We have e5 now, the strongest continuation. We have knight to d5 attacking the queen, and here knight d5 is an excellent move by Keres because now you have to capture the knight. Moving the queen is pretty bad, because if you play something like queen to d7 trying to exchange queens, then bishop to f5 would be crushing for white, but even the straightforward queen captures on h6 would be deadly. Now, of course, if you don't capture the queen, then you're just down in the material and you're getting crushed. And if you do capture the queen, then comes knight captures on f6. Now the king is in check, the queen is forked. After king moves, you get knight captures on d7. Now after rook captures on d7, f captures on e5, bishop captures on e5. Now you have bishop captures on e5. This comes with check. And after rook captures, knight captures on e5, and white is up a whole rook here. So that would definitely be terrible. So after knight to d5, we have bishop captures on d5, capturing that powerful knight. F captures on e5, first a nice in-between move, or a Zwischenzug, if you will. If you can open lines towards the black king, you definitely should, as those bishops on b1 and b2 are monsters. But you do have to, you know, let them out of their cages. So bishop captures on e5. Knight captures on e5, and now bishop to e6, getting the bishop out of danger, and queen to g3 now. We have rook captures on d1, rook captures on d1, and now b5. And here Keres brings the rook back to f1, rook to f1, now the threat again being rook captures knight on f6, as of course the g-pawn is pinned, as the queen occupies the g3 square. And here with knight 8 to h7 protecting this knight, the game would go on. White is of course still better. The bishop pair, those guys are monsters. The knight is beautifully placed here. All of Paul Keres' pieces are ideally placed, so to say. And with a move like this, the game could continue. But after this rook to f1, Spassky makes a terrible mistake. Instead of guarding the knight from h7, he decides to guard the knight from d7. Seems like the idea is the same, and also it now immediately threatens to exchange more pieces. Sorry, I meant knight to this knight to d7. He didn't defend the knight with this knight. Rather, he simply moved the knight and now offered to exchange pieces. But this move is a terrible blunder, and Spassky really makes Keres really makes quick work of Spassky now. So feel free to pause the video here and find the move that immediately wins white the game. As usual, I will give it a couple of seconds, so you know, feel free to really study the position here. So for those of you who found it, congratulations, you are an excellent attacker. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, here Keres played queen captures on g7. And of course, when Spassky saw this, he immediately resigned the game, as of course now you see what's happening. The bishops are now completely alive, and after king captures queen, which is the only move, now you get the forced variation of knight captures on d7, opening up a discovered attack from this bishop. King has to move, doesn't really matter all that much. Either you will block with the queen and then the same thing follows, or you will move the king, and then again knight to f6 check. And now doesn't really matter what you play. If you go king to g7, then you get knight to g4 check, king moves, and the knight captures on h6 will be checkmate. And if instead after this second knight f6 check you go king to f7, then comes knight d5 check, simply checking the king, and of course the queen is now under attack. King moves, knight captures queen, and now it's all over. Whatever black plays, simply a nice exchange of pieces, and now white has 3 pieces against the rook. It's a completely winning position, of course. So after this spectacular move Keres played after Spassky's blunder, queen captures on g7, Spassky resigned the game on move 30. So yeah, another nice game from this very nice tournament, the Gothenburg Interzonal tournament of 1955. I do hope you enjoyed it, and it's you know, those tournaments are you know, a great piece of chess history, and all of the games are very exciting, as all the players are, you know, really exciting players, and their games you know, were really great. So best of luck to everyone with that photo challenge, and I know we've seen the final standings in the previous video, but it's always nice to check out the final standings. So once again, here are the final standings of the Gothenburg Interzonal tournament. As you all know by now from that one video, David Bronstein really obliterated the field with 15 out of 20. That's 10 wins, 0 losses, and 10 draws. Paul Keres, second place as usual. That's why I put the quote by Keres, as he says, "I was unlucky like my country." Then Oscar Panno in fourth place, Tigran Vartanovic Petrosian, Efim Geller, Laszlo Szabo, Miroslav Filip, and then Boris Spassky in eighth place. So definitely Boris Spassky also qualified for the 1956 tournament in Amsterdam, but you all know who won the 1956 tournament in Amsterdam. But yeah, I don't think I will continue the series for this tournament like immediately, but at some point I already did create my playlist, so when I do continue it, we will already have 2 games to begin with. I would like to thank Kowali and Norman Beret for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. Norman Beret is 61 years old, and he says that he's not very good at chess, but he's very eager to learn, so I'm extremely happy to hear that. So best of luck to you, Mr. Norman. And on a side note, completely non-chess related, I'm reading a very nice book now. I will not tell you which book is it, but I really enjoy it very much, and when I finish it, I will make a short review about it, so you can check it out and maybe consider, you know, checking out the book yourselves. So yeah, once again, thank you all. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here, and yeah, I will see you soon.